I tell them all that high Jove bowed his head, as first we went abroad our fleet, for sign we should confer these Trojans their due fate and death. Almighty Jupiter, all that day darting forth his flames in an unmeasured light on our right hands, let therefore none once dream of coward flight, till for his own some wife of Troy he sleeps withal, the rape of Helen wreaking, and our sighs enforced for her escape. If any yet dare dote on home, let his dishonoured haste his black and well-built bark but touch, that as he first disgraced his country's spirit, fate and death may first his spirit let go. But be thou wise, king, do not trust thyself, but others. No, I will not use an abject word. See all thy men arrayed in tribes and nations, that tribes, nations may nations aid, which doing, thou shalt know what chiefs, what soldiers play the men, and what the cowards. For they all will fight in several then, easy for note, and then shalt thou, if thou destroyest not Troy, know if the prophecy's defect, or men thou dost employ in their approved arts, want in war, or lack of that brave heat, fit for the venturous spirit of Greece, was cause to thy defeat. That's Ulysses, the fun, sane Ulysses, addressing the Greek army before taking on Troy. It's a famous story, maybe the oldest in Western canon, but is it worth reading? I'm Michael. Let's find out together. The Iliad is an epic poem assembled by the ancient Greeks centuries before Christ, allegedly by Homer. Did he all write it himself? Probably not. We don't even know he was a real person. But it carries the oral tradition of the ancient Greeks who invented our whole damn civilization. What makes the Iliad and the Odyssey precious is that they are both timeless and Western, so they feel familiar. And yet they were assembled centuries before Christianity. You will find no Christian restraint or meekness in those stories. You'll find the story of the Trojan War, told in fantastic, pagan terms. To get a sense of the story, let's hear Ajax, a Greek warrior taunting the Trojan general Hector. Note that Jove can mean Jupiter, Zeus, the thunderer, or also fate itself or the divine authority, the big daddy. Ajax came stalking then, and thus provoked him. O good man, why fright'st thou thus our men? Come nearer. Not art's want in war makes us thus navy bound, but Jove's direct scourge. His armed hand makes our hands give you ground, yet thou hopest of thyself our spoil. But we have likewise hands to hold our own as you to spoil, and ere thy countermands stand good against our ransacked fleet, your hugely peopled town. Our hands shall take in, and her towers from all their heights pull down, and I must tell thee, time draws on, when flying thou shalt cry, to Jove and all the gods to make thy fair-manned horses fly, more swift than falcons, than their hoofs may rouse the dust and bear thy body hid to Ilion. This is what makes the Greeks better than everybody else. This is the Greek sense of life. Even if fate itself stands against you, the tide may turn, and the gods don't always get what they want. They can both be worshipped, asked for favors, and opposed, but they're not this omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent force, and in any case, we shall not yield. And the gods quarrel with each other. At one point the Trojans push the Greeks all the way back to their ships, so Poseidon, whom the Romans call Neptune, helps them fight back. This angers Zeus, so he sends a messenger called Iris to sort him out. I left this exchange a little longer to get the full exchange. God with the sable hair, I came from aegis-bearing Jove to bid thee cease from fight, and visit heaven of ample seas, which if in his despite or disobedience thou deniest, he threatens thee to come in opposite fight to field himself, and therefore warns thee home, his hands eschewing, since his power is far superior, his birth before thee, and affirms thy loved heart should abhor to vaunt equality with him whom every deity fears. He answered, O unworthy thing, though he be great, he bears his tongue too proudly, that ourself born to an equal share of state and freedom he would force. 3 brothers born we are, to Saturn, Rhea brought us forth, this Jupiter and I, and Pluto, god of undergrounds. The world indifferently disposed betwixt us, every one his kingdom, I the seas, Pluto the black lot, Jupiter the principalities of broad heaven, all the sky and clouds was sorted out. The earth and high Olympus common are, and due to either's birth, when they should I be awed by him. Content he his great heart with his third portion, and not think to amplify his part with terrors of his stronger hands on me as if I were the most ignoble of us all. Let him contain in fear his daughters and his sons, begot by his own person. This holds more convenience, they must hear these violent threats of his. Shall I, said Iris, bear from thee an answer so austere, or wilt thou change it? Changing minds all noble natures bear, and well thou knowest these greatest born the Furies follow still. He answered, Iris, thy reply keeps time, and shows thy skill. O 'tis a most praiseworthy thing, when messengers can tell, besides their messages, such things as fit the occasion well. But this much grieves my heart and soul, that being in power and state, all ways his equal, and so fixed by one decree in fate, he should to me as under him ill language give and chide. Yet now, though still incensed, I yield, affirming this beside, and I enforce it with a threat, that if without consent of me, Minerva, Mercury, the queen of regiment, and Vulcan, he will either spare high Ilion, or not raise her turrets to the lowest stone, and with both these not grace the Greeks as victors absolute, inform him this from me. His pride and my contempt shall live at endless enmity. So, Poseidon wants to tell his brother Zeus to go to hell, get his children in line, but to quit acting like he's better. In the end, he agrees to retreat, but if Zeus spares Troy, he will fight him over it forever. The court of Olympus is essentially one big Balkan family drama. Hello, Russell. Look in the camera. This is where all the people are. So, to finally start from the beginning, how did we even get here? We know that Troy was a real Turkish city. In fact, the archaeologists found 9 city layers there, and marks of destruction through war and fire. But the city would have been sieged centuries before the Iliad and Odyssey were written. What's more important, this entire decade-long bloody conflict started over a woman. Houses burnt to a crisp, entire bloodlines ended, sometimes in one gory scene, because the Trojan king stole our girl. And he got her in the first place because he was stupid enough to help the 3 most powerful goddesses decide which one is the prettiest. He picked Aphrodite, the goddess of beauty, over Hera, Zeus's wife, and Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war. Let's just say it didn't end great for him. Boys, just because the women ask us something doesn't mean we have to comply. Or maybe this is just a beautiful cover story for the ordinary soldiers, and the Greeks took Troy just because they could. Maybe it was about the money and the land, like always. In history, there is no mercy for the weak. None at all. Luckily for us, history is long over. The Greeks and the Turks are best friends, and we will all spend our lives in peaceful, humanistic, democratic nations forever. Or will we? Oh my god, our parents told themselves so much lies. How do we untangle the real nature of the world? Do we even want to? I need a break. No mercy for the weak. No mercy for the weak. No mercy for the weak. So, what can the Iliad tell us today? It's a door to understand what it means to be a human being. Contemporary culture gets many important things right and many others tragically wrong, and the Iliad is a way to avoid being trapped in the present. We have one life. Let's not leave it to the random influences and our teachers. Education as a personal responsibility. And the Iliad is a window to populations who had not yet been demoralized. In it, you will find vital, strong people, if sometimes a little bit childish. 3,000 years later, with all the gadgets, all our sophisticated social structures, we are still the same species, and the Iliad will give you an intimate sense of the brutality inherent to human life. Maybe the Greeks can teach us how not to be a little witch. Like when the Greeks get pushed by the Trojans back on their ships in Book 15.
When Hector saw his arrows broke, out to his friends he cried, "O friends, be yet more comforted. I saw the hands of Jove break the great Grecian archers' shafts. 'Tis easy to approve that Jove's power is direct with men, as well in those set high upon the sudden as in those depressed as suddenly, and those not put in state at all, as now he takes away strength from the Greeks and gives it us. Then use it, and essay with joined hands this approached fleet, if any bravely buy his fame or fate with wounds or death, in Jove's name let him die. Who for his country suffers death sustains no shameful thing, his wife in honour shall survive, his progeny shall spring in endless summers, and their roofs with patrimony swell, and all this, though with all their freight, the Greek ships we repel." His friends thus cheered. On the other part, strong Aegas stirred his friends. "O Greeks," said he, "what shame is this, that no man more defends his fame and safety than to live, and thus be forced to shrink? Now either save your fleet or die, unless ye vainly think that you can live and they destroyed. Perceives not every ear how Hector heartens up his men, and hath his firebrands here, now ready to inflame our fleet? He doth not bid them dance, that you may take your ease and see, but to the fight advance. No counsel can serve us but this, to mix both hands and hearts, and bear up close. 'Tis better much to expose our utmost parts to one day certain life or death, than languish in a war so base as this, beat to our ships by our inferiors far." Thus roused he up their spirits and strengths, to work the both sides went. When Hector the Phoenician Duke to fields of darkness sent, fierce Schedius, Perimedes' son, which Ajax did requite, with slaughter of Laodamas, that led the foot to fight, and was Antenus' famous son.
All this is not to say that the Greeks or their gods repress their emotions. They feel ecstatic joy and tragic sorrow, and they organize a chariot race at one dead champion's funeral. But they don't drown in their own head. My favorite passage comes when Ulysses is retreating, and he gets trapped, and he gets scared.
Lance-famed Ulysses now came in, and stepped before the king, kneeled opposite, and drew the shaft. The eager pain did sting through all his body. Straight he took his royal chariot there, and with direction to the fleet did charge his charioteer. Now was Ulysses desolate, fear made no friend remain. He thus spake to his mighty mind: "What doth my state sustain? If I should fly this odds in fear, that thus comes clustering on, 'twere high dishonour, yet 'twere worse to be surprised alone. 'Tis Jove that drives the rest of flight, but that's a faint excuse. Why do I tempt my mind so much? Pale cowards fight refuse. He that affects renown in war must like a rock be fixed, wound or be wounded. Valor's truth puts no respect betwixt. In this contention with himself in flew the shady bands of targeteers, who sieged him round with mischief-filled hands, as when a crew of gallants watch the wild mews of a boar, their dogs put after in full cry. He rusheth on before, whets with his leather-making jaws his crooked tusks for blood, and, holding firm his usual haunts, breaks through the deepened wood, they charging, though his hot approach be never so abhorred.
So, is the Iliad worth reading? I think it depends. There were some passages where I had to plough through the text and I wasn't having fun at all. The proclamations can be a bit lengthy, the English is difficult. It's bitter medicine at first. I actually had to read it all out loud to avoid losing focus. I also had a translation by George Chapman from the year 1616, so his modern English you could hear in the excerpts didn't help that much either. But then, every once in a while, I would hit a passage, and it would be so powerful, I'll carry it with me forever. And I know a great deal of later stories started here and will make more sense. Life will make more sense. So, if you wish to expand your imagination and to understand human nature better, then go for it. Thank you for watching the first episode. In a fortnight, we'll move on to Nicomachean Ethics. If you'd rather stay in fiction, move on to the drama of Helen or any other video on the channel. And then, turn me off, pick up a book, and live your life!